Okay, welcome to the Get Sign and Succeed podcast. This is episode number 19. Incredible guys. The cast of that has been doing this really from the get-go here. Craig Cox from One of One Life Skills, Andrew Cohen from Get Recruited Consulting, and I'm Bruce Badgley. Thanks for joining us again here. Your regular stop on Sunday night at 7:30. Guys, how was your weekend?
My weekend was fabulous. Today was great, hanging out in the sun. Yesterday, I dropped my son off at college. He's a junior at Ithaca College, so great weekend. A lot of driving, but a great weekend.
Yeah.
Craig, how about you?
Same here. A lot of driving and just spending time with the family. Been a great weekend.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's great. No, for me, wow, it was pretty incredible in the fact that I did a test on my new Red Zone channel, actually, EasternPAFootball.com goal line. Did a test on that, went over to a scrimmage between Wyomissing and North Penn in the afternoon. Got to meet some very high-profile athletes down at the Nolak and Lifestyles Media Day down in Philadelphia. Got to meet Malachi Williams, Penn State commit, a couple guys from our buddy Todd Friel, Episcopal Academy, a couple guys, one's committed to Villanova, and another one has 3 offers from Ivy League schools. A lot of guys down there with a lot of questions. And obviously, one of the questions that, this show topic is all about this week is, stars and, ratings and how that actually affects whether or not a player may or may not get an offer. And, Andrew, we've been all kind of researching around, talking to people we know and what have you. And what are some of the, overriding observations that you've got in related to stars and how that translates to whether a guy gets an offer or not, or where he gets an offer from?
So in my professional opinion, I do not believe that stars will get a kid offered or not offered. I think that it might get your kid an opportunity to get his film watched if he has a lot of stars. But I think, college coaches today and their programs are going to make the best decisions of who to take into their programs. So they're looking at the student athlete and they're looking at, their academic abilities, their athletic abilities, and they're going to make their decision on who they like in person and who they like on film, rather than some, a company or someone else that's telling them a kid has this many stars or that many stars. So I don't really believe they have an impact on who gets offered or not. That's my opinion.
Craig?
I mean, I agree with Coach. It's more about, are you a good fit for that program and for that university? I mean, to me, that's the most important thing. But, I have seen, players and coaches on both sides put more of an importance on the stars than they need to. It's really about, your academics, what you have on film, your character, what your coach says about you, a whole lot more than just, how many stars you get from a Rivals or 247 or ESPN, those types of things. I agree with Coach on that. It's more about being a great fit for the university.
And I can tell you that, in what I've seen or what have you, I agree with both of you guys. I think that there's a lot more that goes into whether or not a guy gets a scholarship from a particular school than just his star ratings. In fact, that star rating, it's very interesting. I just wonder why, after a guy has already been committed to a school, okay, and it's a Division I program, how many times do you see the fact that, hey, he's now up to a 5-star guy? Well, why does that matter? Why does that matter when a guy it goes from a 3-star to a 4-star after he's already committed to, let's say even a Division I program? I see these guys' ratings go up. Andrew, why does that happen?
Well, I'll tell you another quick story. Coach Barone told me this story that I guess his son had committed to Rutgers and he was a certain star and he dropped a level when he left that and decided to go to the University of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So kind of an interesting story. But I think you're going to see, from my experience, okay, and this is just my opinion and what people tell me.
Well, that's what this podcast is all about.
I know. But what happens today is if you're the recruiting coordinator of a major college, you know, you're being judged by how many 5 stars, how many 4 stars, how many 3 stars that you're signing. And so they're communicating with the big companies, whether it's Rivals or is it 247, whatever it might be. And they're going to try to communicate with them and they're going to try to get their kids to be higher stars. And when they're higher stars, it makes their class look that much better. And those are the things that I'm hearing are taking place. Coach Cox, are those similar to what you've heard?
I mean, yeah, I mean, absolutely. A lot of these coaches feel it, especially if they're looking for that next job and they're recruiting coordinator. If they can get one of the better signing classes in the country, it's going to make them more valuable to get somewhere else. But is it really helping the college program? Is it really helping that football program? You know, just getting guys based off of how many stars they have. I mean, are they going to come in and be a good fit? Are they going to mold in with the rest of the players? Are they a good, fit as far as what you run offensively or defensively? So I think it's a big mistake for programs to just look at those stars and offer guys just because they have stars. Now I know a lot of my understanding with the stars too, the more offers guys get from D1 schools, the higher stars. But again, are these committable offers? I mean, we talked about that again, over and over. Are they committable offers? Because schools they might have 15 scholarships, but they're going to throw out 100 offers because they're not committable offers until the kid gets on campus, meets the coaches, and by that time you probably done moved up the board to where you're ranked number 1 on the board anyway, and then they'll accept an offer. But a lot of these kids with stars, they have uncommittable offers.
I think that coaches are damned if they do, damned if they don't. I think that they're trying to get they're obviously their recruiting efforts are based on the rankings of the players as they are coming in. But then, so they get this, hey, great recruiting class. And then, oh my, then they don't achieve expectations. So where's the pressure? I mean, these coaches' heads are in a vice, okay? They've got to do 2 things. They've got to get these guys, they got to get the most talent in that they possibly can based on all these ratings that they're not doing. But yet everybody believes, in these ratings. And on the other hand, once they get in, they better perform. Andrew, I mean, obviously, and both of you guys, you were college coaches. What kind of pressure are these coaches really under when they get these high-level recruits to get them to perform?
I think in general, the bottom line is you're under pressure to win, whatever level you're at, right? So, and I think the programs that are most successful are the programs that have an identity of what they want to recruit at each position, and they stick to that identity. They're the top schools you're going to see, they want high character kids. They want kids that have a good work ethic, that are solid students. They're not all great students. Let's be realistic here. But then they're going to find, hey, our offensive linemen, this is what we're looking for. It doesn't matter what other schools want. This is what we want. I think it's very important that a staff knows exactly what they want at each position, whether it's standards based upon size or athleticism or flexibility or strength or, the combination of everything. But, when I was in the Patriot League, I'm just going to be honest, this was in the 90s and the early 2000s, and Colgate was probably the premier program in that league. And unfortunately, their leader, Dick Biddle, has recently passed away. Terrible thing. My best to his family. But he had an identity, and they didn't care who who liked their kid or who was the highest rated kid. They took the guys that they thought were the best players, and they took 5'10" quarterbacks and they won with them, and they took offensive linemen that were maybe not as tall at guard at 6'1", 6'2". And I thought when I was at Bucknell, we did the same thing in the 90s. So, but how many people are willing to not get affected by outside influences telling them who they should recruit? Every staff I've always been on, you bring a kid to the table and everyone's saying, who else is recruiting them? And I used to say, who cares who's recruiting them? Do we like them? I want to know who's recruiting them to see if we have a chance at getting them. But I'm not recruiting a kid because someone else is recruiting them or someone else is telling him we should be recruiting him. Now, I'll do my homework, and the good recruiters do their homework by asking the coach, asking opposing coaches, asking the athletic director, and asking as many people as they can about their level of play and about their character. So sorry I went on, but I think those are important things.
There's absolutely right. Absolutely right. And I can, how many, we must have had at least a dozen coaches on our 19 episodes, maybe more than that. I don't think any of the college coaches that we've had on this show have mentioned stars. Have they?
No,
they have not. Okay.
And we always talk about recruiting, right?
Exactly.
Not once have we talked about stars till this episode.
Exactly right. Exactly
Absolutely.
right. So I guess the overriding factor is, just like you talked about, Andrew, what college coaches have told us. It isn't just our opinion, it's what college coaches have told us. Just what you said, Andrew. If they like them, if they jump off the page on film, if their academics are ones that they can move forward with, those are that's the big three in these kids. And also, look, relationships. I think we've talked ad nauseum about relationships and how valuable that is in the recruiting process. And just a story for me, over the weekend and talking to some of these kids, had a guy tell me that, hey, I went to school and this guy used to be, the head football coach there, and he knew this person, and they got on the phone with me, and he saw the film and he liked it. So just what you talked about, it's relationships and who you know and how you get that film in front of somebody so that when you have the opportunity to make that impression, that you can make that impression that they'll go after you. Right, Craig?
Absolutely. I mean, I've never heard of a winning coach get fired for not having a certain ranking recruiting class. I've seen them get fired for losing. I've seen them get fired for the academics of the program going in the tank, that type of things, players out of control, but never because of rankings. But you're absolutely right. Relationships is one of the most important things. And that starts with your coach as a high school player. What is your coach going to say about you? I've had the opportunity to coach several guys who had NFL scouts coming in and out all the time to our college, right? Not once do they come in and say, do you think this guy can play at the NFL level? They don't care about my opinion about that, right? They're going to see that on film. They always ask about the character of the player. So as a high school player, what is your coach going to say about you? Is he going to say that you work hard all the time, that you're coachable? All that stuff's important, and it plays a big part in the recruiting process. The academics thing, we had a coach on a couple weeks ago. The first thing they do is look at academics, right? Because if you're not going to be able to get in school, what's the point of watching the highlight film? And I used to get so mad sitting in there, and a coach would put on a player and he's just running wild all over the place, and I'm getting excited. I'm like, yeah, this guy would be great in our program, to find out, what's his grades? Oh, I'm not sure, but I think, and then find out the kid's not getting in school. It's just wasting the coach's time. So the first thing is going to be about academics. So make sure your academics are straight first. The second thing is your highlight film, and then it's going to be about your character. They're going to talk to your coach. They're going to talk to your guidance counselors. They're going to talk to teammates or other people at the school about you. So what is your coach, or what is the people at your school going to say about you and your character?
Yeah, and I think that overall, we've talked about the fact that it's not just one piece to the puzzle. It's a combination of everything. Okay. And that's what's been great about this podcast this is episode number 19, and we're going to have a pretty special webinar next week that's going to really get in depth into if you're given the opportunity to have your film or to talk to a college coach, what are the things that just absolutely have to be pristine so that you can kind of move on to the next level. And Andrew, isn't it the fact of, they're going to check a box, they're going to check a box. If they can't check a box, they're moving on, right? So everything's got to be correct, right?
Yeah, I think as a student athlete, you got to control what you can control. Okay. And take care of the things like, if you're a certain height, you can't control that. So don't beat yourself up about it, but you got to make everything else about you better. What we can control right now is what Coach Cox says. We can be working hard to get our grades, to be organized. And that's what Coach can help you with. He can help you be organized. He can help you with your time management and with your study skills, which is something that a lot of kids go into college without having those resources. That's for sure. But control, how well you do in school. And then, a lot of kids like to lift, but are they running enough? Are they stretching enough? Are they watching enough film? Are they researching their opponents, not just the players and the schemes, but actually the specific player they're going against? But control your own destiny. Do everything in your power to become the best student athlete possible. And you can't lose sleep over the things you can't control.
And ask questions, okay? And that's obviously your contact information. Both of you gentlemen have made it abundantly clear throughout all 19 episodes here that anybody can pick up the phone, and when you have a question, give you a call. And you guys are very approachable. Email, text, phone call, and also even with special programs too that we talk about. I mean, how important it is, relating to getting your name out there or to put you on the right path. And that's the key thing too. You guys have a great special in conjunction with Go MVB about getting a film evaluation, a social media assessment, academic evaluation, and a phone consultation. Because when given an opportunity, you just can't miss the mark. I mean, you just have to let these coaches check all the boxes right from the get-go. And I think, what both of you gentlemen are doing in conjunction, with Go MVB, who's obviously a promotional firm for, young athletes, which quite honestly, with the competition out there for scholarships, I mean, you really need a public relations firm that's out there, tooting your horn all the time. Right, Andrew?
Yeah, I think there's no question you have to have a strong social media presence. We've talked about that, and we'll probably talk about that next show as well. I mean, the better you can do marketing yourself as a student athlete, and the more people that know about you, but making sure they know the right things about you, not just how fast you are, but how smart you are and how good a student you are, how strong your work ethic is, how good a leader you are. You want to check off as many of those boxes as possible. And that way, when it's close to when they're making a decision between yourself and another student athlete, what puts you over the hump is your work ethic, is your character, your ability to communicate. You know what I mean? Like, to me, when I was recruiting and the student athletes that didn't follow up, didn't do the things I asked them to do, at some point, I kind of crossed them off the list and I moved on because I didn't think they were going to make it.
And I put your contact information back up there because sometimes, everybody's reaching for a pen or whatever like that. But I think anybody who watches the show, if you're not giving both Coach Cohen and Coach Cox a call to just ask questions, then you're leaving information, off the table that you should be incorporating into your recruiting, process here. The one thing that you have to do, and you do it in everything in life, is, consult the experts. Okay. there's no obligation to get on the phone and talk to Andrew and Craig, especially with, everything that we've discussed over the last 19 episodes. And all of these episodes are out there for everybody to look at. But the most overriding thing for me, anyway, as I talk to everybody when I'm on the field there, I'm asking players, giving information to players, guys that I think, really have an opportunity to move up to the next level. I'm not a talent evaluator like either one of you two gentlemen, but I've done enough football games to know when somebody's good or not. And when I go up to players who have talent and they tell me that they don't know what to do in the recruiting process, boy, I tell you what, that's why we do this show, because it's to get these guys informed of what they should be doing. And especially in one of the things that I picked up last week when we were talking to our coaches roundtable there was that they better start doing it sooner rather than later. They better start, like, their big years, their sophomore year now, right? Isn't that the takeaway from last week's show, is that really sophomore year now is like the big year, especially for guys that want to play D1 football?
Yeah, I think that and one of the things, to not to keep harping on what Coach Cox and I do, but I think it's so vital that you have an understanding, like, let's say academically, where you're at and really what your potential is. I mean, I get people that really have no idea. They just assume that their kid, because he's good in football, can get in schools. And we understand the requirement levels, the requirement standards that there are at the different levels. And the same thing for football. A lot of families believe because their kids can bench 400 pounds, that means he's going to get offers, but there's a lot that goes into it. And, understanding, hey, your son is a good player, but he might only be a Division II player. He might only be a Division III, but that's okay, because to play college football at any level is an honor and very, very competitive. But I just believe you save yourself a lot of time, money, and effort in the long run if you get a real evaluation of where you're at, and make sure you're doing the right things with reaching out to the right schools academically and athletically. Make sure you're putting the right things on social media and not putting things that maybe you might think are okay, but they're not really appropriate.
Well,
Right,
let me
Craig,
ask
you
what
wanna-
coach is saying. It's about creating a plan. That's the key, and that's what coach and I do. We help you create that plan. No matter what it is in life you want to do, you better have a plan for success, because success does not happen accidentally. It doesn't happen you just wandering around without a purpose or without goals or without a list of what you need to get done. So you got to create a plan, and so that's the big thing about the $99 deal you had up a minute ago. Is that's what we do. We help you create that plan for success. There we go, Coach, getting back up again.
Yeah, we got that back up there. So yeah, I mean, for that film evaluation, social media assessment, academic evaluation, phone consultation, yeah, I mean, don't fear the unknown. Okay, find out, just like you talked about. This $99 is well worth the investment, because you're going to spend, if you're not going down the path that you should be, you're going to spend a lot more than you're going to waste a lot more than $99, you and your family, if you're not put on the correct path to get where they want to go. Right, Andrew?
Yes, I definitely think it's a small investment. I mean, like I said, I've had so many kids that are going to Division I camps all over the country, where if I wish I would have spoken to them sooner, they wouldn't have gone to Division I camps. And just think about the amount of money you spend visiting schools, staying at hotels, paying for camps, paying for food and travel. It's unbelievable, and it's also frustrating that you think you're getting, going to play at a certain level, and then it's too late when you find out, and you've turned down all those schools that would have been great fits for you.
Yeah, I mean, the time you can never get back, and really not having the focus on, and it's got to be, obviously laser focus And obviously that's what we want the webinar to kind of show guys next week. On that, Craig, on social media there, you're going to be sending, you and both Andrew will be sending out on, social media. Just fill out some information. We'll get you and a link to the webinar, and that'll be next Sunday night at 7:30. It's going to be limited to fit to the first 50. So first 50 guys, hey, make sure that, if you sign up here, that you're going to attend, because we're limited to just 50 guys. But if we need to do more of these webinars, heck, we can do 2 or 3 a week, right, guys? I mean, we're not limited to just Sunday night. Oh, well, we couldn't do one Friday.
That's for sure. And we can expand it and do something else, do something other than Zoom to get more people on it. But let's get 50 people on it. Let's sign up and actually follow through and go on it. And you'll learn a ton more. And we're here to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Craig,
anything about the webinar is they're going to be able to ask us questions right then and there. I mean, anything, we're going to be there able to ask the questions. And because of that, and because it's a webinar, that's why it's limited to the 50 people. But definitely any questions about recruiting, get on there. We're going to start sending out the link hopefully tomorrow. And it's episode 20, how to get college offers, webinar special. So any questions about recruiting, make sure you sign up. It's just just so we can get your email and name, so we can send you the webinar link. And that way on next Sunday, you can click on it and join us and ask us all the questions you or your family have.
And what they should do in the interim is go through all 19 episodes that we've had. And if they've got any questions, come prepared. I mean, come prepared with questions, come prepared as you would to any type of practice or any type of meeting where, you're trying to set a path for yourself. Go back through our shows, see which ones that, strike a fancy area with you, and come with questions, because that's really, or give you guys a call. It's not like you guys aren't available. I don't want to say 24/7, but if they want to pick up the phone or send you an email, that's the thing here. There's no reason why anybody needs to be afraid of contacting any of us, even myself. I'll make sure that you get forwarded over to Andrew. I know that we worked with a young man here this week that I saw on the field at a game, and got him hooked up with Andrew as well, because he had questions. He basically was looking for help, and so that's what I'll do as well. When you see me on the sidelines, or if you see me at games, or you see me walking down the street, say, hey, I need some help on recruiting, and we'll get you some answers, right?
Perfect.
We're here to help. All right. Well, I tell you what, it's been a really quick half hour, and but I think, for all of us here, I think we're looking forward, to the webinar next Sunday to really get in depth. And like I said, it's limited to the first 50. We're gonna take it to your honor, the fact that because we have a limitation on it there, that if you sign up that you are going to attend. We hope that you will, and I'm really looking forward to that. Guys, what about you?
Very much so.
Absolutely. Have your parents around for it as well. They'll always
I think if every student athlete being on with the parent, I think is definitely a plus. It's because they're going to see things for your future and things that you need to do, where the student athletes typically see the now, so we'd love to have the parents on it.
Yeah, there's 2 different perspectives there.
Definitely.
we all have kids. We know that there's 2 different perspectives, from a parent and from a young athlete. So I'll tell you what.
My son had his first game this Friday. I meant to mention.
Really?
Freshman first game. They won 20-10. He had a really good 4th and long catch for a first down that really helped out because they scored the next play. Played pretty good on defense. He's excited. It was very enjoyable watching him. Very enjoyable
stuff.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think all 3 of us here, I mean, we're dads, we're fans. We really enjoy football and the life lessons that come from it. And so, yeah, I mean, I was at my grandson's first tackle football scrimmage. So I mean, that was pretty crazy. All I could say is I cannot imagine these the parents of all the kids when their kids are in high school. I mean, they're intense now. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like down the road. But
Oh, yeah.
anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be along for the ride with these guys till, for another, well, I don't know. I mean, my grandson's only like third or fourth grade, but anyway, so a long ride yet. So anyway, hey, listen, thanks for joining us here. Definitely keep an eye on Craig and Andrew for information regarding the special webinar next Sunday at 7:30. Guys, I'll tell you, one of my best half hours of the week is talking high school recruit or college football recruiting with both of you guys. And thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Appreciate it. Stay
All right.
blessed.